Greetings to all my fellow watch enthusiasts on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else this video will be seen and shared. It's Celine Driver once again. I wanted to have a conversation video today with you. I wanted to address a subject that is it's been on my mind on and off ever since I started collecting watches and talking to various people, and was really brought to light and to the forefront of my mind with the recent release by Zelos of the titanium Damascus Swordfish. This watch right here. And the watch received a fair bit of criticism from people that I refer to, well, not entirely disparagingly, but there is a term for these people, and this term is watch movement snob or movement snob. These are the type of people, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you chase a particular movement in a particular watch, or you feel that a watch that costs X number of dollars should have a movement in it, this movement A and not that movement B, because movement B is not as prestigious or perceived to be of lower quality than movement A. Movement B is lower on the market, if you will, in your opinion. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with that attitude, although I think it limits those people in terms of the watches that they will get to enjoy, I would like to raise my hand and say, excuse me, you're not thinking long term. And maybe that's a failing in the fact that you haven't had the same experience as I've had, which I will point out in the course of this video, that make you think a little more strategically when it comes to purchasing a watch. I'll explain why. Let's start with the watch that created some controversy, and that is the Zelos Titanium Damascus Swordfish. A very limited production watch. It was done in the blue case like this one, and also in a yellowed case, and I think there were 30 examples of each. I'll have to check with Elshin, but I know there are only 30 examples of the blue ones. Now, this particular watch, oh, by the way, quick wrist check, I'm wearing my Islander watch, originally with the blue, mostly blue with a little bit of white, a silver bezel, but I've retrofitted it with an orange bezel to turn it into another one of my famous Gator watches. And of course, the Florida Gators are playing today, so I'm in my full Gator regalia, including the watch, which, by the way, is powered by a Seiko NH35 or 36. I'm sorry, and that is a relatively inexpensive movement. Consummate, in some people's opinion, with a relatively inexpensive $300 watch. Now, this watch, and it's common knowledge if you go on Zelos' website, costs $1,500. Not an inexpensive watch. And it's powered by an NH35 movement, a Seiko movement. Now, this created controversy. Along the lines of, you could probably guess the reaction. I'm paying $1,500 for a watch with a Seiko movement. Why didn't you put a Valjoux in it? Why didn't you put an ETA in it? Why didn't you put a Sellita in it? Why didn't you put a Swiss movement in it for that amount of money? Well, for one thing, if you look back at, say, Elshin's other offerings, the ZX line, that came with either a Japanese Seiko Mecha Quartz or a Valjoux 7750, the price difference was almost double between the two watches. Adding a Swiss movement would probably have jacked this thing up near $2,000. And while people will probably pay that money, it probably would have been a tougher sell. Now, these are my opinions. I haven't talked to Elshin about this. He doesn't know I'm making this video. He'll probably see this video and, saying, "You got it wrong." Maybe. Maybe not. But my opinion, putting the Seiko movement in this watch keeps the cost reasonable and more accessible. And I'm not a watch movement snob. I'm not a watch snob, period, but I am certainly not a movement snob. As far as I'm concerned, I want a quality movement. I generally steer clear of the Chinese knockoffs. That's why I don't own any Seagulls or anything like that. I generally avoid the cheap stuff that comes out of China or other countries that aren't making good quality movements. I tend to stick with movements that I'm familiar with, the Seiko movements or the Citizen. Citizen makes their own movements. Casio makes their own movements. The ETAs, the Valjouxs, the Sellitas, the stuff I'm familiar with. I tend to stay in that range, but it doesn't bother me that this watch, which I paid full boat retail, I didn't get any breaks on this watch. I paid full boat $1,500. I'm not trying to brag or anything like I'm some rich guy. I'm not. I paid full boat for this watch, and I don't care that it has a Seiko movement. You know what a Seiko movement in this watch buys me? I live in Florida, USA. Singapore, where Elshin is and where a factory warranty is way over on the other side of the friggin' world, to me. It's 12-hour time difference. It's a 25 or more hour flight difference. It's an entire world away. As far as I know, it's on the other side of Mars. But if this watch goes Tango uniform on me and something goes wrong, it's a Seiko. Every watchmaker in the country that is worth their high-powered loop and their Bergeron screwdriver set can fix one of these things. That's the same with the ETA, too. The ETA 2024, the Valjoux 7750, the Sellita SW200 or whatever, they're all common movements. But Seiko is Seiko. The parts are, you buy the parts off of friggin' eBay or Esslinger or wherever. Any decent watch warehouse is going to, or you just replace the entire movement. It's a 3-hander with a date window at the 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock, yes. It's a simple 3-hander with a date window. Everyone and his mother can work on these things. And that's what you don't think about, do you? I'll give you an example out of my own collection. I have here, and I'm going to adjust the time so it's actually right. Okay. I have here a beautiful watch that probably, unless you watch one of my videos, you've probably never seen this before. This is from a company called Sarpaniva. It's Finnish. The owner of the company is Stefan Sarpaniva. I've talked to him many, many times before. He's excellent customer service, excellent guy to work with. And they produce very, very few watches. Seiko probably produces more watches in half an hour than Sarpaniva produces in a year. These are highly special watches. This is a two-hander with a moon phase. And you can see the moon phase is these two rotating silver discs with the man in the moon on them. And when it lines up with that big circle at the 6 o'clock, that's full moon. Okay? And you got a starry background. This thing is made of white gold, alligator strap, custom alligator strap, custom case, and a full custom movement. This thing is loosely based off of an ETA movement, but it's so customized by Sarpaniva, nobody can work on it. And the reason that's key is this watch, I inherited, quote unquote, inherited this watch from my father. My father bought this watch many years ago. He wore it for a while. He loved it, but he decided to let me, quote unquote, play with it. I mean, he's borrowed it back from me many times. In fact, I just got it back from him a few days ago because he wanted to wear it for a while. And my father and I do that all the time. But this watch, in its tenure with myself and my father, has failed 4 times. Now, it's a high-quality watch, but it's also a somewhat delicate watch, and it's also a very specialized watch. Nobody can work on it. Only Sarpaniva can work on it. So when this thing fails, whether it's the moon phase train or the drive train for the watch itself, or both, because they're separate mechanisms, it has to go all the way back to Finland. It takes 3 months to service it minimum. It is a minimum $500 diagnostic fee. Even if you decide not to repair the watch, they hit you for $500 right up front. And it has to go back to Finland insured and come back to you insured. So the cost of owning this watch is high. Ask me how I know. So that's something that you don't take into consideration, many of you, because you haven't been through this before. You haven't had one of these watches that the movement snobs would swoon over. Because it's a customized movement. I mean, look at the back of this case. I mean, if you can see the movement, you can see that it's highly customized. It's a customized rotor. It's a full rotor with the man in the moon as part of the counterweight, and underneath it, it's highly decorated. Engine turning, code de Genève, blued screws, the whole mishpucha. Everything you could want in a movement. A Swiss movement, or in this case, a Finnish movement, is in there. But it's a specialty movement, and only Sarpaniva can repair it, and repair times are long, and repair costs are high. Now, admittedly, this is not a $1,500 watch. This is many, many times $1,500. This is a $1,500 watch with an inexpensive movement that appears in this $300 watch, or its cousin, the NH36. So, but this watch can be repaired locally. This watch can be repaired locally. This watch has to go overseas. Same with this watch, another watch that I inherited from my father. Actually recommended he buy the watch. He bought the watch. He liked it for a while, but then he didn't like it anymore. So now it's mine. This is a Seiko, a Grand Seiko Snowflake. I've done videos on all these watches on my channel. If you want details about them, please feel free to go look. This is a not cheap watch. I think it's about a $5,500 watch. However, the slogan for this watch is watchmaker made, watchmaker serviced. If this spring drive goes bonkers, Nobody in the U.S. is authorized to repair it. You have to send it to Seiko. Now, I'm going by what I found as the procedure. I may be off on this on a little bit here and there, but my understanding of the procedure is this goes to Seiko USA, and they drop ship it to Japan. And it's serviced in Japan. It's reconditioned. Whatever needs to be done is done. And then it comes back to you. Now, Seiko USA may have changed that, and they may now be working on these things now to some degree. But, again, this is not something you take down to the local Seiko authorized dealer. All they're going to do is either tell you they can't work on it and ask you to leave, or they'll take it from you and they'll just ship it off to a service center, most likely in Japan. And it will cost a lot to fix, and it will take a lot of time. So even if you own a Seiko or Seiko derivative, there are going to be cases where this Seiko isn't workable or serviceable locally where this one is. See, this is the thing these watch snobs don't take into account. The after-sale life with that watch. Now, the after-sale life with this Islander, with this Timascus Swordfish, are going to be really, really easy for me. They're going to be long service intervals, and when they do need service, they're going to be serviced by a local person. I have a watch guy I work with locally through a jewelry store that I've been working with, and my family's been working with for about 7 or 8 years now, and they're wonderful people. The watchmaker is really on his game, and I know that if this Timascus, when it goes out of warranty, needs work, he can handle it because the parts are readily available. Or hell, he can just buy a whole watch and rip the movement out of it and stick it in this one. It ain't complicated. So that's my take on this whole watch movement has to be consummate with the cost of the watch thing. In my mind, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. A movement makes the hands go round. It makes the date change. It makes the moon phase change. In the end, this 5-figure wristwatch and this 4-figure wristwatch, the movements do the same thing. I got to get used to moving watches around on camera in reverse. They do the same thing. The hands go round and round. The complications go round and round. They keep time. I do not understand the over emphasis on what's inside the case makes all the difference. Okay, if you want to collect watches that way and you want to be that way about your watches, I understand. As we say, lazum laden. Live your life. It doesn't bother me either way that you have the attitude you have. I have the attitude I have, but it seems to bother some people because I've gotten several messages about how could you pay that much money for a Seiko movement watch. Because it's friggin' gorgeous. There are only 30 of these in the world. And they're so unique and beautiful, you just can't help but stare at the damn thing. And as soon as the Gator game is over today, this goes back on the winder. This one goes on the wrist. That's how much I love the watch. I've been wearing it constantly since I got it. It's a fantastic watch. I don't care that it's got a Seiko movement. As far as I'm concerned, it's fantastic that it has a Seiko movement in it. I'm thrilled to death that it has a Seiko movement in it, because that makes my post-purchase experience with that watch that much easier on me and that much more fun for me, because if something does go wrong it can be put back to rights in a matter of a week at a low cost, and I can continue wearing that watch, as opposed to 3, 4, and 5 months and over $1,000. I'll just leave it at that. All the times that this watch has been repaired, it's always been over $1,000, except for the last time it was done under warranty, because it failed within the repair warranty period. So Sarpaniva was great about that. Didn't hassle me. They just took it in and made it right, and it's been running for a year and a half now with no problem. So don't think that Sarpaniva is making crap watches. It just, it happens. Things happen. Every once in a while, one gets out of the factory that isn't golden. I mean, you can say the same thing about luxury cars and luxury everything. High-end stuff goes bad too. So that's my take on the watch movement controversy. I don't buy into it. I don't go for watch movement. I go for the watch. But that's me. If you have a different take on it, I'd love to hear about it. Comments, questions, and suggestions down below, please. Let me know what your thoughts are on this controversy. Is it not a controversy to you? Do you think I'm full of it? Do you agree with me? Let me know. I read all the comments. I respond to all the comments. I generally delete the nasty stuff, the spam stuff, the I'm lonely stuff, and then I block the users so they can't bother us anymore. If you like the video and so on, please give me that thumbs up. Clicking the thumbs up button does help the channel. It makes the channel more searchable. And when people search for things on YouTube, the more likes a video gets, the more likely that channel is going to appear in a subsequent search. If you're, pardon me, if you're new to the channel, please, of course, welcome. Welcome to my channel. I hope you will stick around and look at other videos that I've made. I've made quite a few on various subjects. Before you leave, click that subscribe button down there in the lower right, that big red button, about that big. And when you click that, click the bell icon so that when I upload new videos and when I go live, which I do every Wednesday afternoon at noon Eastern time, and I also go live at other times during the week when the mood or the opportunity affords itself, you will be alerted to those things. I hope everyone is staying well and staying safe in these trying times. You all know what I mean. I hope you will come back to me when I upload the next one. Bye-bye.